make sure we understand what is a supply and what is excluded from supply. So UE VAT law gives us some of these clarifications. So very first clarification here is that a supply of goods would not be treated as a taxable supply unless the guy who is taking the control of the goods is able to dispose them as owner of the goods. Okay, so if I'm just placing my items to with somebody and he is not taking the ownership responsibilities, it will not be a supply. That's number one. Second one is that if I'm selling a voucher, so when I sell a voucher, normally it's simply I'm giving somebody a promise that okay, you take this, and as and when you want to buy something, present this whole voucher and you will be able to buy this stuff. And a classic example here would be that when you go to a mall, and a mall can sell you a voucher. For example, I pay 100 and they give me a voucher that in any shop of the whole mall I can use this. When this swap happened, I gave 100, they gave me a voucher. So still no supply has happened, because of a voucher is only a promise. A supply will happen when I'll go to a shop and I'll encash that voucher. In that case only supply will happen. Finally, the third one where it will not be a supply is sale of the business. So if a business as a whole is being sold, in that case, uh, the whole business will not be treated as a taxable item. So it would be out of the scope. But if from the same business I'm just selling my assets, in that case, such asset would be a taxable supply. Now, I'll give you a use case here in which FT has given the clarification also. So understand that I am selling a commercial property which is vacant. I do not have a tenant, because if I have a tenant, it becomes my taxable activity in that in that property. So I just sell the property. In that case, when I sell a vacant commercial property, it would be subject to 5% VAT. But if I'm having a tenant inside it, and in that scenario, I'm charging 5% to that tenant. Now it is my whole business activity, and when I sell a property including that tenant in that, so I'm transferring the whole business. In that case, such sale of property would not be subject to 5% VAT, because it is considered as transfer of whole business. So is that okay? If in case you wish to ask anything, please unmute yourself and you can ask me anything. Otherwise, you just let me know that it is okay and I'll move along. In case you wish to ask anything, please let me know. Okay, that's great. So it is okay with you guys. Next one is scope of VAT. Now VAT is applicable here, and we know that VAT, it can be 5% or it can be 0% itself. And there are three scenarios in which VAT will be applicable. First scenario is when I'll make a taxable supply. Okay, so a supply which can either be subject to 5% or can be subject to zero. Both will be treated as a taxable supply. Next one, if it is a deemed supply. Now, a deemed supply is a supply which is assumed to be a taxable supply. For example, I bought a laptop for my office, and I claimed the input VAT on that. Next week, I started using it at home, so it becomes a private use now. In that case, I will consider it as a deemed supply, which means the company in which I work will consider it as if I have sold it. Okay, and they have to charge 5% VAT and declare and pay that VAT also. We have a deemed supply section also, in which I'll explain you in detail. So first scenario would be that it is a taxable supply. Second scenario is that it is a deemed supply. And the third scenario, if it is an import of concerned goods and services. So why this import is treated as my taxable supply? Because when I import the goods or services, my supplier will not be charging me 5% VAT. Okay, and in that scenario, when the supplies enter here, I will record VAT on my own under RCM. So that's why it's my taxable supply. And make sure you understand that when I am considering my threshold to get a registration of VAT, imports are added in that, because imports are my taxable supply.